anything on this one?
I have one else in the same to, staff event or the great tour of GRP facility.
Probably facilities correction.
Not only the prison and technology, but the staff too. So thanks again. Worthwhile experience. Do I have any adjustments?
I don't have any.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'm going to. Oh, I have a question before. We don't need to make any motion internally to approve write-offs, that this comes with the consent agenda.
Yeah,
Is that correct? Just want to
yeah,
make.
as long, yes, as long as you do it.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. So I'll make that.
Second. Favor?
Aye, abstain.
Great. You and act on the district draft fiscal 2024-2025 operating budget and recommended water structure.
Okay, so last month we presented the draft budget and this month we'll need to vote on the final budget for this next fiscal year. Made no changes to any of the expenses. Only thing I'll note is last month you received a presentation on insurance coverages. And so I make a recommendation to all of them to increase your D&O from 2 to 5 million. And it's going to cost each month about $2,200. Your D&O and L and GL insurance is about just under $4,000 right now. So it'll go up by about $2,200. So, and then everything else is the same in the budget.
That amount changed since the trustee meetings, but it's a little less.
Theirs is different.
There's definitely.
There's, because they don't have the G and L like you are. So it's a little bit different. They don't have the infrastructure coverage on the general liability. So that's a scratch.
Thanks, but I want to motion to approve the budget. One second.
I'll second.
Question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Consider an act on policy RMS 12 rate for water service.
All right. Yeah, so RNS 12 is the policy document that, as you can see, memorializes, I guess, the water and sewer rates on that second page, the blue chart. And so, as I mentioned last month, we're not proposing to change water and sewer rates this year, but there was a change in the GRP rate, which went down. SJ reported that the last couple months from 320 blended rate to 297. So we need to document that reduction. So I need approval of the RNS 12 policy.
Yes, so we to adopt rates for service in the updated policy RS 12 effective September 2024. A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 11, conduct a public hearing regarding the district intent to levy a 2024 tax rate.
All right, so this is the second step of our two-step process to adopt district's tax rate. We did the first step last month when we authorized the publication notice of the career of the district's intent to levy a tax not to exceed 0.069814. It's published.
Yes, in the Courier and the Villager.
So then we need to adjourn the regular meeting and conduct our public hearing.
During our public meeting,
All right, do you have any comments from the public on the proposed? And no members of the public present, we can close that public hearing.
public hearing is closed.
That takes us down to item number 12, consider the levy of the district's tax rate. So we do not have a debt service tax rate in this district, so all of the tax rate will be going toward maintenance and operations. If you need a motion to adopt the district's 2025 tax rate of 0.069814, which is slight reduction from the 0.0714 last year.
Motion.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the last item related to the tax rate is to adopt the amendment to our ninth amendment restated district information form. This is the document that's recorded in the property records. It does include as some of the information on the form, your tax rate. So now that we have a new tax rate, we need to update that form and record it in the property records. We need a motion.
Second. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move along. Item 14, receive the regular monthly SJ with a division report and the updates on operations project public outreach, pages 16 to 36.
All right, I just have two quick items for them. One is, we do have financials over here. It's a separate sheet from May and June. So please pick those up. Also, in your packet, the projects beginning on page 21, those financials have been updated as well. You'll see one project on page 22 that is yellow. That means all invoices have been received, and next month, we'll not see that project anymore. It's closed. That way y'all can compare a budget versus the actual. One thing to point out though, is the project below that yellow highlighted project, owner's advisor for new wastewater treatment plant number 1. That is the contract that we're using for the cost comparison of repair versus replace, conventional wastewater plant 1. The two numbers that you see, the 550,000 and the 559,000 and change, those are incorrect. The trustees approved up to 500,000 for the budget, and we've honored that because the contract amount is 499,000 and change. So I want to let you know they are incorrect, but I'll correct them next week. That's all I have. Like, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so, anticipate kickoff early September. Are we kicking off? We restart.
We kicked it off last Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wednesday. That's, you know. That's it. Okay. How long does it typically take, EWDB to approve, in their, like, the item? Wastewater, some number 2 tertiary filters.
Yeah, so that's depending on when we approach them and when their board meetings are and the process they have to go through. In some cases, we can go to staff, the executive director can just say, yeah, I'm fine with that change, just putting the intent of what you're doing.
Okay.
If not, we have to hit their board meeting, that is an internal thing, so it could be 3 or 4.
Another question on the wastewater conveyance optimization. There is a final recommendation that those being presented in early September.
That has not been presented at this time, but we are approaching that timeframe for it to be.
Okay.
The final recommendations will be on the, as it says, a 3 short listed alternatives. We started with 5, getting down to 3, but very high level.
Thanks.
Attorney's report?
Nothing on the attorney's report.
General manager's report?
All right, good afternoon. Reports on page 37. Wanted to point out a couple things. We are going to be developing a ditch condition assessment protocol going forward. What we'll do is, per the trustees' approval of the budget, there was an item in there to buy some equipment to be able to get up and down the ditches a little bit easier than we do. And so we'll be utilizing that once we get it in, develop a policy where we're going to essentially do a periodic ditch review to assess the condition, is it still operating appropriately. Post-storm, we'll do the same thing, immediately have post-storm, look for trees and things like that. And so we'll be working on that this fall. And then also we'll be finishing up the CIP that will include a lot of the ditch stuff that we talked about last month. As you can see, we've got quite a few building changes for you, and we're going to continue to do that. You'll see perhaps some technology improvements here in the boardroom, and then some interactive things for customers in the lobby, and spruce up some more things in the lobby, furniture and stuff. So just kind of taking us out of the 80s and bringing us into the 2024. So all that was approved and we'll be moving forward with that. And then with that, John's not here. That's all I have. We need to go to 17. That's all right. That was, John was gonna segue to this, but he's, no worries. So just to kind of set this up, as you may know, and obviously you know, is very involved. The PEC has been working over the last year, as SDRA, hired in through the SDRA budget, to hire a communications firm to help with the infrastructure campaign, to educate the community on aging infrastructure, projects that might be going forward, and things like that. So over the last year, we've been doing a lot of work to develop the strategy, the kind of the overall framework of the campaign, and we've been developing a website. And we're now essentially ready to go into implementation. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have Holloway come present to you, show you the website before the general public does, and let you see it. So with that, Connor Stokes is here with Holloway to run us through the presentation.
I'm a communication services manager. Like Eric mentioned, we will go through the website, but first we'll just go through a brief presentation, tell you a little bit about Holloway as a firm. We'll talk about how we got here. So just very maybe a little bit about what
Ready? Get with the lights.
You know, just run down a little.
Right. So Holloway Environmental Communications, we are a Houston-based firm. We were established about 30 years ago as an environmental consulting firm. About 20 years ago, we expanded into communications. And that was really out of a need that we saw. There's a void in the public involvement space, specifically as it relates to the National Environmental Policy Act. So that's how our communications practice was really born. And since that time, we really expanded our specialization into strategic communications and creative services. We do, most of our work is in the greater Houston area. However, we do work throughout the state of Texas. And we do a ton of work on the communication side and the environmental side related to coastal planning. So you may see us. As I mentioned, a lot of our work is here in the Houston area, so we have regular clients like Harris County Flood Control, Harris County Union Department, Metro, here in our area, among many others. And then we're also at the state level supporting entities like the General Land Office, and then also at the federal level like this. Just a few of our current past projects are listed there. That next, that's Harris County Flood Control, that effort on the theme to remap all the floodplains in Harris County. And then we've been a part of the Coastal Texas Project, which you may have heard of in the news with the Ag Dike since the study began. So just a couple of highlights of some of the projects that. So what is Water Renewable Movements? Water Renewable Movements is a collaborative effort by Women's Water, the MUDs and the SDRA, focused on long-term modernization and rehabilitation of water and wastewater infrastructure. Projects are sourced from the SDRA's 10-year project plan, as well as additional projects identified. Our objectives are transparency in our communication, education of the public and customers of Women's Water, as well as providing ample engagement opportunities and opportunities to provide feedback. And of course, we want to ensure efficient, reliable water and wastewater services and maintain that infrastructure soundness. We'll get to today. So we started back in the fall of last year, and we started with a needs assessment. And what that needs assessment needed to do was assess the ways that both Women's Water and SDRA communicate externally. So we really dove into, with the help of Women's Water, SDRA, all the various means in which they conduct external communication, from websites to advertisements, and even everything in between, and all the way to taking a look at media coverage to just get an idea of public perception, things like that. So the needs assessment really served as a great foundation for our communications plan, which was our next step. And the purpose of that was really to outline a clear strategy and serve as a guide for implementation. Now, I will mention that within that guide, as we move forward, more actionable micro plans will be developed that fit within that guide for implementation. And really, that's what we're working on right now. Is as I mentioned, we are right on the doorstep of implementation. And a couple of just things I want to highlight. Moving into implementation, of course, the website that we'll go into the deeper dive in just a second. But I did want to mention our brand identity here. Water, that was really our first step after the communications plan. And getting back to the needs assessment, we did identify through all of the great survey work that Water has conducted, all the great feedback that customers have provided. There's a sense of uncertainty and confusion as it relates to roles and responsibilities. With Water, the moments estuary. So we really wanted to create a central source for the public, for customers as we launch into the campaign to come and be able to distinguish those differences, gain clarification on roles and responsibilities as we go through. So just quickly before we dive into the website, just want to touch on it and emphasize that the purpose of this website is really to serve as a central hub of communication as we go forward. So it's a pretty piece of communication that we send out. We'll link back to this website. We really want to be to know and emphasize information, project updates, and be able to provide feedback through this platform. So that's it. I'm hearing a bunch of this. And then I do want to emphasize that throughout this process, we've been in very close coordination with Water, estuary, as well as the Public Engagement Committee in all aspects of everything that we've been doing. So what you're about to see with this website that's been, through multiple rounds of revision, review, discussion, coordination with the PCC. And then finally, of course, as we move forward, there will be opportunities to expand upon the site. At this point, we don't have specific projects identified. We don't have all of the funding mechanisms and sources identified. So the site will be expanded with those things as we move forward. And then we want to just look for more opportunities to provide interactive components for the public as well. So looking at things like interactive maps to move surveys. So that we jump into. All right, so just starting at the top of our homepage here. And really on this page here at the top, we're really just trying to tell a story and set the stage for what we're talking about. Again, like I just mentioned, the site is at this point is really at a fairly high level. Projects, funding sources, those things are still yet to be determined, to be clarified. And so we really stay at that high level, especially at this point process. This graphic there that pops up here right at the top, that's an example of the town life cycle. Critical decision point, a community like the Woodlands must navigate in some point. It's moving along to why now. This is really in the title, and then this is just really to explain, why it's so important to start thinking about this infrastructure overall at this point. Who's involved? Again, just getting back to some of those uncertainties that we saw in feedback. We really want to, make it clear who's responsible for what. Provide clear linkages back to each of Woodlands Water and Estuary to find more information respective to those entities on those sites. Make it clear that we're partners in this process. And the graphic below that, again, getting to the point of educating, providing transparency to the public about roles and responsibilities, who's responsible. And you'll see we'll dive deeper into these roles and responsibilities, more information about who's involved on related agents. So what's included? Again, just re-emphasizing that we don't have specific projects identified at this point, and so this is just meant to provide sort of a criteria and let the public know that these are the things that will help to determine projects and prioritize projects. we'll go on to about the plan. And so on this page, again, we're not getting into project specifics. So this is again at a fairly high level, but we do want to provide a little bit more context about what might be anticipated. So what is water infrastructure? This is a key definition that we want to make sure is provided. This is really intended to, like, what are we talking about when we talk about water infrastructure? Provide, some detail there to help it. Of course, renewal plan benefits, I expect, many of you as well as, the rest of the public, they'll want to know, how this plan will benefit me, how will it benefit, my family. So we really, what kind of targeting that is behind. This graphic, asset management highlights how delays in updating infrastructure could lead to some more reactive maintenance. And then we have a couple of infographics here. Water is serious business. So these really highlight how water is the lifeblood of our communities. So about us, like I was mentioning before, we want to just be really transparent and clear about who is involved. So there's a lot of information up here about wind, water, floods, estuary, and then just right below here we have a really great infographic, explaining again who's responsible for what, and then how those responsibilities are intertwined and where those linkages exist from all those various responsibilities. And this is a pretty big graphic, so there's even more information. Again, you see that the same graphic. Moving into the FAQs. So when we ask questions, all of the questions that you see here, we put together in coordination with the PEC. We really try to think of, what are all the questions that the public might ask at this point. Having said that, this is a dynamic page, just like the rest of the website. So as we get out there and do community events and engagements, we see that there's various trending topics. This page will actively be expanded on to address those questions that we're hearing on a regular basis. Get involved. There are multiple opportunities to provide questions, comments, and we really want to emphasize that on this page. There's even one at the very bottom of the homepage, opportunities to sign up for a regular email distribution list. And so those are all outlined on these sub pages for getting involved. We want to make it as easy as possible to hear from any member of the public. We're looking to a lot of customers. At the very bottom, sorry. But there is an events page, and again, we'll be scheduling open houses, trying to leverage community and leverage our participation in already ongoing community events and meetings. So as we identify those things, those will be listed there. And the media. So we really wanted to, with this page, create a one-stop shop for the media to find all the information that they need to know about water renewal. So as news releases are sent out, those will be posted there. As we have fact sheets and other informational items developed, those will be posted there as well as contact information for the media to exactly the team. And again, just another contact page. Some duplication here, but we just want to provide, whatever page you land on, we want to make it really easy for you to be able to know how you can send a comment, ask questions. And again, I didn't touch on FAQs, but this is also an FAQ page. We don't want to bury it there, so we also added it here at the top here. Just like know which number. So I just got one more slide to talk about what's next. So we're looking to launch the website and our overall awareness campaign tomorrow, September 19th. As part of the website, which you didn't see here today, we will be implementing a survey, making that really clear. We want to provide a call to action whenever this website is launched. public to have something to interact with, something to do, an opportunity to provide feedback right from the get-go whenever this is launched. So we won't just be launching this passively, hoping that people stumble upon it. We'll be sending out, email notices, sending out news release, having awareness on social media. And then going forward, we'll be, working with Eric and John to get into Moving Water Weekly, spreading awareness that way, sending out messages in water bills, and other advertisements as we move forward. And I already mentioned, further along the line, we'll be really trying to get out there with engagement opportunities, large scale public meetings, leveraging community events, targeted snippet. So lastly, the community working group. I know we don't have a ton of information about what that is on this page, so I'll go through that quickly. And before I bury the lead again, we are seeking one appointment and potentially a backup from today to have representation on our work. But the working group would be representative of each of the MUDs, also each of the village associations and the business community. So we'll be reaching out to the Chamber of Commerce for representation from them. And really that's what we consider kind of our core of the working group. But we'll also be reaching out to local elected officials that are about to participate, as well as encouraging participation from the Moving Water, of course, SJRA, the township, our staff, and really at the heart of it, the purpose, we want to establish a regular dialogue and better understand community concerns. If they're willing and able, we're hoping that the working group will be able to support us in distributing information about the renewal plan, updated information as we go along, and then also mitigate some of the misinformation that is currently out there and even more as we proceed. So those are our primary intents there. The group is intended to be somewhat small, kind of around 30 people. We want it to be, a dialogue and a discussion. We don't want it to be, us as a facilitation team, just speaking at you, providing information without opportunities for discourse. So that's the intent. With the size and our representation, we again just really want to better understand community concerns and leverage y'all's or the members of the working group, their experiences, their understanding. As far as frequency, we're looking at quarterly meetings for the working group. We want to respect everyone's time. We don't want to schedule meetings too frequently. We want to make sure that when those meetings are scheduled, there's a clear purpose and intent for those meetings. So having said that, we also want the working group to, have some sense of ownership. So, as we get started and launched, if there's a need to meet more frequently, if there's a critical decision point that needs to be discussed, we want to be flexible to accommodate those desires as well. That's to go with that. I'd love to take any questions and then love to hear y'all's appointment.
Any questions, comments?
How'd you get the interactive maps to work so well?
That is a product of Moving Water. So
Yeah, we have that. We're wanting to try to get it to where you can just plug your address in and then it gets you there too. We're working on that. A volunteer.
Sorry.
But I'd like to volunteer on that, something else.
You've worked in a number of media organizations, but absolutely, I'm thinking of a long time.
Yeah.
I think,
I'm almost at 79. Residents at 95.
okay. Well, I think you're
Thank you.
very well qualified.
We also need an alternate, right?
Probably would be good.
Presumably already be involved from the village association side.
Good point, yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you, that's a great presentation. We skipped over you because you weren't here, you had to contribute.
I'm guessing yes.
That's all right. A couple quick notes for you. Um, You have your communication report there on. Thank you. 6. 44. 43. Page 43. You want to note that this upcoming water bill is gonna, highlight the fact that the customer's bill is gonna go down a little bit this coming year. It's a good thing. Obviously that relates to the reduction in certain part conversion. Reductions, passing on that statement. We are adding to our social media platform, so we do have paid presence now through the Chronicle and Women's Online. Seen some really impressive engagement with those ads. So I'm happy with that spend. And then we're going to be adding Instagram here any day. So you'll see that on your next report. Current market materials follow, and then you'll see that, yeah, it's art contest finished up. That was awesome. We had a lot of great entries from 3rd through 6th graders. We awarded some prizes, and all those entries are available online if you want to check it out. And then we're going to weave those into some of our public outreach ideas that we have planned for the lobby. We'll be doing that again. Note the outreach calendar. Love to have you at these events if you're ever available. Great opportunities coming out and talking to folks. The folks really like talking to directors. We had a director out at a recent event. Folks were just peppered with questions and about all things. So it's a really good way to see what's on people's minds. And then we're going to send you an email. So you don't need to write this down. We're going to send you an email about an upcoming presentation next Thursday, the 26th, 7 p.m. That's by Jason Ramage from USGS. He'll be presenting his annual summary of water table data. Officers are performing in the region. Again, that's next Thursday, the 26th, 7 p.m. That Zoom. We'll send you an email in advance on that, the link. And if you can't make it, we're going to have that recording available. Push that out to the public. So put that on written. Thank you.
Thank you. You have anything to say?
Briefly.
Okay, we are going to recess.